or while we're waiting, if you can get Kahoot on your phone, right, Nicole? I think that's what she wants y'all to
That'd
do.
be that'd be great.
Yes. All right, so
Are
we're
you
gonna
guys
go.
playing a game? Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh, go ahead, Nicole.
I was just right. What game are you all playing? I'm curious.
The platform that we're using offered a several.
Gamification.
Yeah, some games. Darren, go ahead and explain it.
The conference app we're using, it offers gamification. So you get points every time you attend a session, drop a virtual business card, engage in a virtual meeting, things like that. And we had two or three
Nice.
people that got really into it. And the last few minutes, the scores update in real time. So you can see these scores and these people changing first and second. And it ended exactly at 10:45. So it was exciting right down to the wire. And both of the 1, 2, and 3 are all in this meeting.
Oh, fantastic! Well, congratulations, whoever you are. That's awesome. We're gonna play some games here today at the very end. So maybe you guys will enjoy that as well.
So are you
So
saying
what-
it was like watching eBay and trying to get that bid in?
It's exactly what it was like.
Well, who won?
eBay, for those of you who are too young to understand, was a
What'd you say, Darren?
I was just making fun of the youth of today, maybe not understanding what eBay is.
All right, so we'll go ahead and get started with our session. So for our closing keynote speaker, we have Nicole Greer. And the session description is as follows. Have you ever felt stuck? Do you have a dream that lies dormant? Do you wish you could have more energy? If you answered yes, you're in the right place. If you answered no, you may be in denial. Our keynote speaker today is Nicole Greer, PPCC Professional Path Certified Coach, on a mission to energize, impact, and influence individuals to lead a more vibrant life through engaging what is possible and making it probable. She's a certified coach, an entrepreneur, and she's a race car driver. What? Okay. She races to work, races to see her clients, races to home to love on her family, and tries not to be on a first name basis with the state patrol. And he loves to race to win, and loves to race to win in life and business. Please welcome Nicole Greer.
Yay. All right, I'm so glad to be with all of you today. Hey, go down to the reactions at the bottom of the Zoom and give me a little love, will you? We're all excited to be here today, so you can go down there. Oh, I'm getting lots of love and claps. I appreciate it so much. Well, I am here to talk about overcoming obstacles and getting your IT team out front. But before I do that, what I want to do is I want to take a poll. So what I want you to do is I want you to go onto your phone, pull up your Kahoot app. I'm guessing this group might already have that Kahoot app in place. And if you'll do that, or you can go to kahoot.it and pull it up. I'm going to share my screen right now, and I am going to do my Kahoot. So hang on one second. All right, we're going to get this up in just a second. Hang on. When I put it up, it's not giving me my option. Is there anybody who knows anything about IT here? You could help me.
Nope, not a one.
Not any of us.
Oh, I have to click on basic. There we go. All right, I got it. Never mind. I got it, you guys. Okay. All right.
Love
So
that
here we
users
are. We've
figure out
got our
that stuff.
Kahoot up here. Can everybody see it? I can see Felina. Can you give me a thumbs up if you can see it? Absolutely. Awesome. All right. So all right. So get on there if you will. I got Claire. I got Darren. I got Dee, Joe. Oh, Smart Brother Junior, was that? Oh my gosh. Here they all come. Here they all come. All right. Everybody's getting on the Kahoot. Let's get our music going again. All right, here we go. All right. How many people do we have here today, Felina? We got a bunch, right? Okay, here we go.
We got 356
IIT. I love what you
attendees.
put in the chat, Paul. That's hilarious. Scott, don't be sassy. Oh, he just got on. Okay. All right. So we've got everybody coming in here. I'm seeing more activity, more activity, more activity. All right. I'm going to stop my share for just a second. I'm going to go back. I'm going to enable my sound. See, it's all these details, right? Okay. Here we go. Maybe you can hear it now. Hey, I don't know. Okay, we got lots of people. 92. How many people are at the conference, Felina and Darren?
There's
358.
158. Okay, well, we'll keep going here for
three,
just a minute.
358.
358. Oh my goodness. Okay. So when I get to about 150, I'm going to see what everybody says. I'm going to go till there.
2080362.
There's 196 that have joined this one.
Okay. All right. Very good. All right. We're getting it on there. Let's see. We're at 105, 104. One dropped off. Oh, there we go. We're back up. Okay. So in the essence of time, let's see what's in the chat. All right. Felina put it in there. Thank you, Felina. Appreciate it very much. All right. So we're going to take a poll. And we're going to do that right now because I want to make sure I get all my teaching in. All right, here we go. So here's my question. How are you handling the obstacles you face? So get your phone, get ready to vote and take the poll. How are you approaching the obstacles that you face? First option is I feel like I can handle any obstacle. Bring it on. I am picking and choosing my battles right now. I could do more if things weren't so confusing. I just need clarity. And I am anxious and worried about everything. All right, let's see where everybody kind of lands with that. And let's see what's going to come in here. All right. And I'm going to stop share for just a second. All right, I'm going to share again. All right. All right, what option do you have? What option do you have? Got 125 answers. All right, I think that's a good place to take the poll. Okay, so let's take a look here what we got. It looks like 80 of you are picking and choosing your battles right now. I love the 30% that says, I feel I can handle any obstacle, bring it on. That's fantastic. I guess you guys have a growth mindset. And then some people need clarity and no, but well, just a couple people are anxious and worried about everything. So it sounds like you guys have a pretty healthy outlook on what's going on right now. So let's do this. Let's take you guys from category blue, I'm picking and choosing my battles, all the way up to category red. I feel like I can handle any obstacle and bring it on. So let's see what we can do to get that going in our lives. I'm going to start sharing my screen now, and I'm going to share my PowerPoint. And when I do that, I'll get it started. And we'll start jumping into this idea of overcoming obstacles. So here's what I know. Life is full of obstacles. There's no day in my life that I don't come up across an obstacle and that I need to get things going. But the way that I want to approach my obstacles is like this. I want to turn everything into a game, everything into a puzzle. I want to have this idea that I can take whatever obstacles in front of me, I can get in the driver's seat and I can move things forward. And I'm going to put strategies, systems, and smarts in your toolbox today to help you do exactly that. Now, this comes from a very old book, okay? And this book was written about the French Revolution. And it says this: it was the best of times and it was the worst of times. It was the age of wisdom and the age of foolishness. It was an era when people believed. It was an era of incredulity. Now, I want to look at that vocabulary word of the day. All right. So I think that this is the most dangerous place to be, a state of being unwilling to believe. So it's not like, you know, believing is something that just happens to us. It's actually a state that we're in that we can get out of, right? So when you think about COVID and the fact that we've had this crazy year and that the IT departments everywhere across the planet have been scrambling to get everybody set up and working again, I know that this group of people that I'm working with today are the people who believe. Now, I bet some of your clients, your internal customers, have been unwilling to believe that all of the things that we've come across, all the obstacles can be overcome. But the truth of the matter is that they can be overcome. All right. So we want to think about how can we be in a mindset where it's the best of times. It's an age of wisdom where we can learn and where people believe. So we're going to try to move into that state. And here's what I want to tell you. Everybody on this call can be a leader, what I like to call a vibrant leader, a person who lights up what is possible and figures out how to make the possible probable. These are the people that I call vibrant leaders. Now, as you kind of move through your day, this might be what your day looks like. Does this look like anybody's average day right here? It's lots of chaos, lots going on, and it might seem a little dark. But if you notice, this gal still has a smile on her face because what she's thinking to herself is, as I move through the day, I'm going to light it up wherever I go. Now, here's the truth about the people we work with. Okay, maybe not on this call, maybe not the people on this call, but most of the people we work with fall into one of two categories, right? And so the first category that people fall into is this idea that they are vibrant, they're helpful, they show up, they do the right thing. Then we have this category of people that I call the dark cloud. Okay. And those people walk into the room and make everything especially difficult. I'll give you an example. I walk into the conference room and let's say that a meeting's been called. So I come into the conference room, I sit down, I'm all excited about being part of this team. We're going to do a whole new project. We're going to overcome some kind of obstacle we have in the organization, and we're going to come together and we're going to put our minds together and figure out what to do. So who walks in the door but Darren? Darren walks in, and when Darren walks in, I look at Darren and I say, oh, Darren's in this meeting. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited that Darren is in this meeting because yes, you. And Darren is going to be the guy who's going to help us because when he comes in, he lights up the room. He's got lots of ideas. He's got a good attitude. He's got a growth mindset. And I know that from my experience with him. But now Glenn walks in the room. Oh, I'm going to pick on Glenn. This is not true about Glenn, but pretend that Glenn comes in the room and I think to myself this, right? Oh my gosh, well, aren't you a little ray of pitch black? Because in the room he comes, and here's my experience with working with Glenn, is that Glenn is cantankerous. He is rude. He's short. He's blunt. He's hard to get along with, right? He brings that dark cloud. Now, there's a book out there. Write this down. If Felina, if you would put it in the chat for me, it's called Multipliers. And in this book, Liz Wiseman talks about the idea. Yes, yes. If you just feed Glenn, he perks right up. There has to be donuts in the meeting, right, Glenn? All right. So here's the deal. There's this book by Liz Wiseman called Multipliers, and here's what she says. She says in her book that when you work with people who are vibrant, who light up the room, who have this attitude and this great energy, the people in the room work 90% more efficient. Now, when we have the little ray of pitch black come in the room, right? The person who darkens the room, makes it gloomy, everybody goes, oh my God, this is going to be the worst project because he or she is there. Okay. What happens to the intelligence in the room? Well, the intelligence in the room drops to 50%. Now, the question is, why does the intelligence drop to 50%? Well, I will tell you, because people are not thinking about the problem any longer. What are they thinking about? They're thinking about this problem child that just walked into the room and about how hard it's going to be. All right. So, yes, the intelligence definitely drops when you walk in the room. That's fantastic. I know you probably gave a great presentation earlier this week. I saw your funny bio, and there might be a cigar and things for you. We'll see what happens. All right. So that's the thing I want you to think about, is that you can be this girl wearing her rainbow sweater, thinking about unicorns and all sorts of great things, and that we can actually fix what's going on. Now, I want to tell you a quick IT story. I'm coaching a gentleman right now, and he works at a financial institution. He oversees all the servers and has this really interesting title that I can't remember, because it's this long and it doesn't make any sense to the average bear. But he oversees all that, right? Well, he was telling me a story about how his institution would have all the servers go down, and they would get them back up. They would try to, go through the process of finding out what's wrong. They could not find it. He said it went on for like 6 weeks, and they were just very resilient. They would get those servers back up. They would send an email to everybody, everything's back online. They got in a routine. The people at the branches, they just continued to deal with it, and they were super resilient. Isn't that interesting? That when we have to, we can be super resilient when we have to. And what we're going to talk about today is about doing it even when we don't have to. Well, he got his team together and they started to problem solve and think about what is it that we can do to figure out why these servers keep going down. Well, they got a hold of all of the tickets that come in from the help desk. And when they got all the tickets in, they found out that there was one particular person. Every time they tried to print on their printer, it would take the system down. Now, you guys probably understand that way better than I, but here's what I know is it took getting everybody in the room, gathering the data, asking powerful questions, having a growth mindset that we can fix this. And they found the problem, and they ended up changing her printer drivers or something. I don't know what I'm talking about. You do. And that's the kind of thing we're thinking about. Overloaded circuit, John says. Okay, so that could be it too. But we want to be this person that can move through the day, even when there's all these difficulties, and still bring light to the subject. Okay, so I'm assuming that most of you in here are leaders of some kind. Okay, you might be running an entire department, or you may be just part of a team, but in charge of a system or a process. And one of the things that leaders must do is they must think about how they're thinking. They must think about how they're thinking. And that is called metacognition. All right. And leaders step back from what they're doing and decide whether or not the attitude, the mindset, and the approach that they have is actually helpful. All right. So we want to do this, step back and think about how we're thinking, because here's the truth of the matter. Your thinking gets off on other people, right? So if this particular IT leader has kind of a bad outlook, is complaining a lot about IT or not IT, about COVID or IT, or about the other leadership in the organization or whatever, this person gives off a vibe. Now, there's this other really old book. I want you to write this down because every human on planet Earth should read it. It's called Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. Write that down. Somebody please put it in the chat for me. Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. And in that book, Napoleon Hill in the 1920s said, between two people, there is this thing called ether. And what I think he was talking about is like all the molecules in the air between me and that other human right across from me. And whatever energy I am putting out is getting on top of that other person. And that energy on that other person is getting on top of me. And so if you want to have a productive, overcoming obstacles kind of organization, you are going to have to very much on purpose step back and do metacognition and think about what you're doing. Here's what I suggest to leaders at the end of your day is to sit and just think about what was really great that happened in the day. Where did you provide great direction? Where did you communicate? Where did you provide help and assistance? And it was really powerful. Okay. And then on the other side of the paper, look at the things that, stole your energy, that took the joy out of your work. and then begin to assess where those things are coming from so that you can take action. So that's the first way you can overcome obstacles, is by looking at your day. Okay. All right. So now here's the gal that works for this guy. Now, the messages that he is sending out are affecting her. Now notice how much stuff is going on in her mind. She works for him. She's got a smile on her face because he is putting out a great message. Now, if he puts out a very negative message or puts bad ether out into the space, she's going to have a frown on her face, because here's the truth. When we communicate with our people, they immediately start asking questions, and their mind kind of looks like this. You know, when I communicate to my team, it's like, what? Huh? Why? How? Excuse me? That's not what she said. Sounds like a personal problem to me. Is that contagious? I mean, there's all these things going on in people's minds. And so the leader of whatever particular group or the team member of a particular group can really impact and affect what's going on by harnessing proper thinking. So here's me on a bad day telling people what to do. Okay, so I'm a coach, and I have a coach, and I think it's so imperative that a coach have a coach, or like they're a hypocrite, right? So I have a coach, and I was telling my coach all about my team, and I was sharing that, they didn't have the same attitude towards things as I did, and I wanted them to work harder. Have y'all ever felt that way about your teammates or your team? Have you ever felt that way? If you would type amen in the chat, I would appreciate it, because that's how I feel sometimes. I'm like, why don't people think like I think? Why don't people do what I do? And here's the thing. My coach looks at me and he says, Nicole, you're the problem. And I was like indignant, a little offended. I said, what are you talking about? I am not the problem. And he said, yes, you are. It sounds like you have not communicated proper expectations. So this is the second thing I want you to put in your toolbox right now. Okay. The first one was, look at your day. What was great and worked well? What didn't work well today? And let's work on these things that didn't work well. All right. Second thing is expectations. Now, this is what Don Carroll said to me. He's an author, he's a coach, he's an Enneagram guru. I don't know if any of you have taken the Enneagram, but just FYI, if somebody throw it in the chat for me, www.reti.com, reti.com. You can take the Enneagram there. It's a great, cool assessment. I know all of you guys probably like assessments. I know I do. And so here's what Don Carroll said to me. He said, Nicole, if people aren't doing what you're asking them to do, then you have properly communicated expectations, because uncommunicated expectations are a premeditated opportunity to be disappointed. And when he told me that, it hit me like a ton of bricks. Here's the thing. They say that if you want to get an adult to learn something, you have to tell them something 8 times. 8 times. So if you think to yourself, didn't I already tell this person that 3 times? You only have like 5 more to go, and then you'll be there, right? And so the thing about adult learners is it takes them a longer time, because remember when I showed you this picture of the gal's face, and she looked like this, right? She's thinking about a lot of stuff, so she may not even be listening to you, right? So as the leader, you're going to have to go in there and you're going to have to make sure that you've communicated expectations. So important, right? So I had the privilege of working with some firefighters and EMS and police officers at a government conference. And I was working with these guys, and I always went early, back in the day when we could go to things early. And I went to this thing early, and I went in and I sat down and I listened. And there was this gentleman named Captain Jim. Now, I don't know if you know that much about firefighting, but I bet you do, because you all are in government. So the captain of the fire truck sits in the passenger seat, and the engineer drives, right? So the captain's in charge of the truck. And so Captain Jim is up there, and truth be told, he's kind of an older guy. He's kind of rough around the edges, and he's strutting around up on stage, and he says, let me tell you how to manage your people. This is what you do. You get a piece of paper, and on that paper, you're going to make a list of 3 things that make you happy. Okay? So that's what I want you to do right now. Everybody write down 3 things that make you happy. Your team, how can they make you happy? Write down 3 things. Now, I'm going to say kind of a bad word right here, but I'm just repeating from Captain Jim at the conference. Okay. So don't be offended. He says, no, I want you to get another piece of paper and I want you to write on top of it. Here are the things that piss me off. Okay. And then put these 3 things on that piece of paper. He says, here's what you do. You hang these next to your door. And every time people come in and out of your door, they know what to expect. Now, I'm not really sure that that's really the best way to do it, but I thank you, John. But I think that it's really important to let people know. And I do love his philosophy, his leadership philosophy is it's like, I will be skipping through the firehouse if you do these things, and I will be frankly, you'll be in my office in trouble if you do these things, right? So he says hang it on the wall. So I think we don't need to necessarily hang it on the wall, but we definitely need to communicate it. Okay, so here's what I want you to do. I want you to put a RETI, RHETI.com in the chat for me, somebody please. And that will be where you can take the Enneagram. You definitely need to do that. Very cool. All right. So here's the thing about the messages that come from us as team members and leaders is that the message we send either supports growth or it silences it. Okay. Supports growth or silences it. I notice my S is missing. Don't you hate that when you look at your PowerPoint deck 100 times and you miss something? So here's the deal. I want you to think about being conscious and aware of your communication and what you're saying. Some of us have a little blind spot where we don't understand that our messages are hurting our team. They're shutting us down, making it dark so we can't find our way around. Okay, so we really want to think about our messaging. All right. Now, I want to give you 2 coaching frameworks, okay? And I'm telling you, for any of you who lead other people, want to influence other people, this is so essential. Now, this came from my life coaching training, and you might be like, we invited a life coach here today. I'm going to tell you, everybody needs a life coach. Everybody needs somebody to go, how's your life? How's it going, right? And here's what I know about these 2 frameworks. They're very helpful for performance. They're very helpful for performance. Now, I also know that when people operate at a higher level of performance, they overcome obstacles faster and easier. Okay, when you have a high performing team. Okay, so it's like this. If I have people who are learning and growing and moving and exploring and being on different teams and experiencing different situations, they are like a locomotive. They're going 100 miles an hour. And if I put a brick wall in front of that locomotive, they would crash right through it. Okay, because they have this thing called momentum. However, if the locomotive is stopped, not performing, and I put a little brick, a normal brick in front of the wheel of that locomotive, it's not going anywhere. All right. So we have to help people, have this vibrant life so that they can do amazing things. And when I sit down and I talk with people, I talk to them always about the future, about the vision, about where we're going. Now, you might say to yourself, we've heard the vision talk before, but I want to tell you something. Rarely do I go in and consult somewhere where I ask somebody inside the organization, what are the goals for this organization overall? What are the top 3 goals for this organization overall? Where are we going? How are we going to get there? And where are we going is the vision, and how are we going to get there is the mission. And we need to make sure this is clear, and it needs to be clear all the way down through the entire org chart to the front line of what are the goals for this month, for this week, for this year, for this quarter, so that we can do it. And what we want to do is give people that vision and then relate to the vision the action steps they need to take, what their particular role is that helps get the vision done. See, that's when we can overcome obstacles, is when we say, this is where we're headed. And your job, your position has these little action steps related directly to that vision that help us get it done. And that is when we are providing people proper expectations. So let's say you're going to sit down somebody and talk to them about what they need to do in the next week, the next month. You're going to draw a little line just like this, and you'll say, here's my agenda. We got to figure out this server problem. It's going down sometimes 4 times a day when this chick is printing over here. but we don't know that yet. And so here's the action items I need you to work on so we can get to this vision, which is the servers don't go down 5 times a day. All right. So we want to make sure that people understand how their behavior, how their help makes the big vision come true. Now, at the top of the model, you'll see a lifeline. And whenever I hire somebody new, whenever I bring somebody new into my particular world, like if you brought somebody into your department, you want to sit down with them and you want to get a vision of what they want, right? What do they want to do with their career? And you want to find out about their past and glean it for information. Okay. Now, here's the interesting thing. Sometimes, hello, we don't know what people know. And they might have some kind of expertise that's never been exposed before, or an experience that's never been exposed before. But until we sit down and we dialogue with the entire team and understand, what have you done in your past? What do you want to do in your future? We can't place people in the right position to give them the agenda and the action items they need. So these are two great coaching frameworks that can help you overcome obstacles by understanding people's skill sets, what they've been through, and where they want to go, and positioning them with action items that get us moving forward. All right. Now, this is the growth mindset. Now, I just recently finished my master's degree, and it's kind of a miracle because I'm pretty old, and so I finally got this thing done. And I did my research, my capstone on the growth mindset, and I want to tell you, it really, really lit me from within. Like I don't know about you, but I do have personally a growth mindset, but I've worked alongside people who've had a fixed mindset, and I could never understand why. You know, the person that comes in and is the little ray of pitch black instead of the person who comes in and is ready to work. Well, Carol Dweck did a ton of research on this. And if you go into the platform where the conference is being held, I uploaded a growth mindset assessment for you. And here's what I challenge you to do. I challenge you to take it with your team and like maybe have a lunch and learn with it. Sit down and talk about what the results are. Because here's what I want you to imagine. Imagine you had a team full of people with a growth mindset. It would be amazing. So let's talk about the differences so you can kind of get some insight into what that looks like. So a person with a growth mindset, their intellectual energy is active. Like they're hungry people. I have a mentor, her name is Ann Starrett, and she tells me all the time, I only want to work with hungry people. I don't work with people that don't want to work. Wouldn't it be amazing to work with people that want to work? That would be great, right? So we want to make sure that when we're hiring, when we're pulling people onto our team, that we're looking for people with this desire to learn, because I bet undoubtedly that every stinking project you do, you have to learn something. You have to go out, Google, fix something, go find something, and bring it back to the team and teach everybody so you can get your problem solved. So we've got to have this growth mindset. Now, there's other people that have a fixed mindset. It's where intellectual energy is static, and this leads to a desire to look smart. So let me explain this real quickly. Have you ever worked with somebody who's like telling you how smart they are, but they're not doing anything about it, right? They're not using it. They're not getting themselves in a position to be challenged. And what we really want to do is we want to put people in a position where they're challenged. And what pops up is your ego, right? You know, so if you zipped Nicole open and did surgery on her, you'd find her heart and her lungs and her stomach and all those things inside, but you wouldn't find her ego. The ego is kind of a psychological thing. Everybody's got one, and it was put in you to keep you safe, right? So it's to help you feel secure, to help you feel like you're in control, and to help you feel like you've gotten approval. And when you're too worried about security, approval, and control, you can't learn, right? So some people are like that. Now, when that's the case, they avoid challenges. You know, they say, I don't know what to do. I'm not sure how to fix it. While the people with a growth mindset say, I'm not sure how to fix it, but I think it'll be messy, but I'm going to try it. The people with a fixed mindset give up easily in the face of obstacles, but somebody with a growth mindset says, I'm staying here till midnight. I'm going to persist until I figure out how to overcome this thing. And then people with a fixed mindset see effort as fruitless or worth. Like they're the people in the meeting, they go, this is stupid. I'm not going to do this, right? People with a growth mindset says, I'm going to get mastery over this. I'm going to figure it out. And then people with a fixed mindset disregard criticism. All right. Have you ever worked with somebody, you give them feedback and they say, I don't care what you think? Have you ever had that happen? But people with a growth mindset, they have this idea that feedback can help them get better. Like they notice that, like, wait, whoa, Felina slowed down for a minute to give me some feedback to make me better. She must care. She must care about my performance. She wants me to get better. We see it as a gift, right? And we learn from it. People with a fixed mindset feel threatened. Growth mindset goes out and goes, let me find somebody who's done this before and figured it out, and I'll get inspired to move forward. Now, when you have a growth mindset, this is what your brain looks like. And did you know that you have 100 billion plus neurons in your mind? And our goal is to work with our teams to get our heads lit up, to be vibrant, right? To be thinking about what is possible and turn it into the probable, right? To overcome those obstacles. And here's the thing, you have to message to people over and over and over again what you want them to do, setting the expectations, because here's the deal, what is fired together gets wired together. When I message Glenn and Felina and Darren and Ryan over and over and over again, this is what I want us to do, this is what I see us figuring out, they go, okay, I got it. And slowly but surely it gets wired together. And guess what? Then they start to think like I think. Don't miss that. And that's what we really want to do, is we want to get the team thinking together, not group think, right? Like you've probably had a seminar on that, but I'm talking about getting sold out, that we can overcome obstacles, that we can make things happen, that things are possible. So we want to wire that together. Now, look at these top skills from the World Economic Forum, right? So they came together and they said, moving forward after COVID, what are we going to need to be able to do to survive? To survive, right? So the first one was complex problem solving, critical thinking, creativity, people management, coordinating with others, emotional intelligence, judgment, decision making, a service orientation, negotiation, and cognitive flexibility. Man, it is all about how you think, right? So, getting those neurons wired together properly is going to take a lot of conversation, a lot of dialogue to help us understand how to overcome those obstacles. We got to remember that the way we actually get the computing done, the technology hooked up and working, is how we think about it. So your brain figuratively has 3 parts, figuratively, okay? So this is not science. Any of you have a nursing degree or a doctor or something, hang in there with me. But we have 3 parts of our brain. Now, here's the thing. We're at that meeting. Remember that meeting? But let's say that we're all there and we're all vibrant, right? And we're all ready to work, okay? Even that group of people goes through this sequence. Okay, don't miss that. Everybody who's vibrant goes through this sequence too, because it is hardwired, in our evolution. So we sit in there, we've got this problem with the servers, and we say, what is it that we could do? What are the things that we could do to get this figured out, right? So people start brainstorming and throwing up ideas and throwing up ideas and throwing up ideas. And that's really beautiful. But then this second part of our brain kicks in, and it has doubt, it has a little darkness to it, and it has a little disregard in it, right? So how many times have you been in a brainstorming session with some great people and all these ideas are coming out, and you even tell them, don't disregard any of these ideas, in the beginning. What I want you to do is just come up with all the ideas possible. But there's like always one person in the group that's like going to diss it before they're supposed to, because it's just this human urge to keep us safe, to like, be careful, that might not work. Okay. And we want to be careful about letting that part rule the day. Because here's the deal. You can come up with all these ideas in the world, and if they all get shot down, we're right where we started. Now, the third part of your brain is the part of the brain that can take the doubts, the disregard, and the darkness, and they can overcome it. They can obliterate it, and they can make it obsolete by going back to the first part of the brain, which is ideas, insights, and innovation. So let's look at it with like literally your brain. Okay. So many of you might have seen a diagram of a brain or watched a video about it, but you have ever seen where they put the electrodes on somebody's head and that person has a thought. You can see all these different parts of the brain light up because literally you light up. You know, that whole thing about a light bulb, like that is so true, but it's actually going on inside. And so when we have an idea come into our mind, it comes in through our amygdala or our reptilian brain. And that's where we have 4 reactions. Now, you've probably heard of fight or flight, but there's actually 4: fight, flight, freeze, and deflect. And this is further research that's been done. So fight is like you're going to say, that's not going to work. I don't think it's a good idea, right? Or there's flight. I don't care. Whatever y'all want to do. Just let me know what I need to do and I'll do it, which are some of my most unfavorite people. I don't care. It's like you have to care. You work here. Okay. And then the third is freeze. That's a person that just goes like this. Like they just completely disengage and wait for the decision to be made. And then they come back to the room. I don't know. They're dreaming about something. And then there's the people that deflect and say, I'm not really sure I should be part of this group. I'm not really sure this is my circus, my monkeys. I'm not really sure I should be here. And they try to deflect it and get out of the whole situation, right? In that way. So there's 4 ways. Now, here's the thing. When that idea comes in, we're going to have a reaction to it because we're hardwired that way. But then what we can do is we can control ourselves, and that's called emotional intelligence. And that takes place in this limbic part of our brain. And this limbic part of our brain is where emotion lives. And if we can learn to notice our emotions, we can control what neuropeptides come out of our glands and marinate us. Okay, so I don't want you to miss that, right? So when I get this initial fight, flight, freeze, or deflect, if I don't try to control my reaction, I'm going to release cortisol all over my body. Okay, and cortisol is a killer. Okay, now if I decide that we're going to overcome this obstacle, I have that growth mindset. And I want to persevere, I'll have different neuropeptides that flow through my entire body and I marinate in some really good stuff. Okay. So not only now has it become intellectual, it's now completely physiological. And once we control our ideas, or our emotions about our ideas, then we can move into conscious awareness and start working logically. And so teaching this to your team is so essential because they need to understand that this is happening inside their own head. Okay. And sometimes when we have that conscious awareness that we might go negative on things more of the time than positive, most of the time, we can start to maybe try to change it, right? So we have to get that conscious awareness. So I have provided for you, again, in the platform for this conference, I provided for you this thing that I like to call the influence filter. Now, this influence filter is a great way for you to start a meeting and to start working through what you want the project to look like. It puts you in a growth mindset. It allows you to start seeing the obstacles, but only as raw material for the strategies and the systems and the smarts that you need. So, we're in this meeting and we're thinking about what are we going to do about these servers, or what are we going to do to move the organization forward in terms of IT? What's my big idea? Might be that you sit down and you look at projects, and my imagination tells me I have a ton of project managers maybe listening right now. This is like prior to setting into place all the things that you learned about in your PMBOK, right? So we're going to sit down and we're going to brainstorm. What is our big idea? What insight can I act on? What innovation can I instill? So we might do a mind map or a bubble map, where you put your general idea in the middle and start to think about things with bubbles coming out to the side. So that's our first step. So we do a lot of thinking. Okay. Now, there's this old thing about, like ready, aim, fire, right? That makes good sense, right? That's logical. A lot of people sit down to solve a problem and they're like, fire, aim, ready. Okay. We want to do it this way, where we do tons and tons of positive thinking in the beginning. We get everybody in the room. And then we kind of start to look at some other aspects of whatever it is we're looking at. So we want to look at the impact. So what improves because of this idea, insight, or innovation? And then we talk about our stakeholders. Who is impacted by this idea, insight, or innovation? And how does this impact the bottom line, our service, and our culture? And so now we're getting our why. So I bet you some of you have heard of this guy named Simon Sinek, who has this book called Start With Why. Write that down. Will somebody pop it into the chat for me? Lots of reading from Nicole Greer. Hey, guess what? Leaders read. People who get promoted have read a book. That's what I know. And so we want to do that, right? We want to read these books. Okay, so we get our why in mind, right? Because my guess is we're going to have a budget. IT is one of those departments that doesn't make money, it spends money. So you better have a really good why, right? Okay. Now, what is the importance? What improves because of this idea, insight, or innovation? Again, who is it? Oh, wait, there we go. What's the ideal state? So what is the organization as a result of this? So notice I am putting down a vision right now. So Nicole Greer totally believes there needs to be some kind of story of the future of whatever it is we're going to do, an ideal state that we get into. Now, if you can invite other people, the people with the purse strings, the people that are above you in the organization that want to understand, why do we need this very expensive piece of IT stuff? Okay, is you sit down with them, you say, so let me tell you a story of the future of our organization once this is in place. Somebody who works in human resources is affected by this software, this hardware, whatever, in this way. Her day used to be like this, and now her day is like this. Okay, could be that we're putting something in place that affects the entire organization, and you go through like some key players and tell a story. And how do people behave now versus how they used to behave? And what is possible because of the increase in profits, time, learning? Now, this requires a lot of thinking, but I'm telling you, it will help you tell people how you will be being in the future. And we want to do anything we do, we want to like make it a change management process, right? Where we change the state of how we be. And then here's where we get to use the second part of our brain very much on purpose. We're going to call out the obstacles. All right. So instead of going straight for strategies, notice that none of my previous pages were about strategies so far. It was just ideas. What do we think this idea will do? How will it influence and impact? And now we're going to be relentless with our obstacles, because remember, your brain automatically brings up the obstacles. Even the people in that meeting I talked about at the beginning that are vibrant, they are sitting there going, okay, wait a minute, this is going to happen. And this is where we capture everything. I want you to sit there for a very long time and say, what is in my way? What do I fear? What do I fear will happen? Okay. Fear is a very real emotion. Remember, I said it goes to your amygdala, it goes to your limbic brain, out to your neocortex. Hang in there in your limbic brain for a minute and say, what am I scared of? And admit it and get it written down. And then what resources do I lack? Okay. What resources do I lack? Because here's what I know, without the proper resources, it just can't get done. So we're going to have to think about what resources do we lack. Now, I don't know if any of you have ever heard of the landfill harmonic before, but the landfill harmonic is down in South America. And these people actually live on a landfill. They actually live on a landfill. And there was a gentleman that went down there and saw how these folks were living, and he knew how to play all sorts of instruments. And the children and the families that lived in this landfill, they would go down there, or they would go to the landfill itself, and they would sift through everything, trying to find something that they could pick up, they could clean, they could use it, they could resell it, they could do something with it. Can you imagine living like that? Hello. We're so blessed. So they took all of these things, and this gentleman started putting together instruments. everything from cellos and drums to saxophones to trombones, and created the Land Philharmonic and taught these children how to play these instruments. So I want you to go to YouTube when we're done and Google Land Philharmonic and watch the video about these people. So hello, they lived in a landfill and they created an orchestra, they got an album. Okay, so what can we do, right? We can take all the obstacles that are in the way of what's in front of us, and then we can think about a strategy, a system, or something smart that we can do to overcome that obstacle. So this is a much more pointed and poignant way to get the job done. Instead of throwing out strategies, we're going to throw up the obstacles on purpose and find a strategy for each obstacle. And that will bring us great success. And this is when we start doing. So we're going to go from thinking to how will it be when we're done to doing. And that's how we overcome obstacles. Now, this is a picture of a neuropeptide. And like I said earlier, when we do this, when we see the obstacles in front of us and we begin to figure out how to overcome them, we start getting tons of oxytocin and dopamine and endorphins running through our body, and we start to actually marinate in all sorts of good stuff, right? Which gives us the energy and the juice to go do more. Now, as you're working through the problem, you want to think about asking powerful questions. And here's the truth about questions: they create movement, significant movement. Now, Albert Einstein said that if you had an hour to solve a problem, if I had an hour to solve a problem and my life depended on the solution, I would spend the first 55 minutes determining the proper question to ask. For once I know the proper question, I could solve the problem in less than 5 minutes. So, slowing down to do that whole influence filter is absolutely essential, because if not, there are all sorts of forces at work in your life. You're going to get very, very busy, and you're going to say you're too busy to do the thinking, but then you're going to have a subpar strategy to overcome your obstacles. And what questions do is they help us explore again what is possible. They open up the minds of people. They help us multiply what we're thinking about. And I'm going to share with you the dimensions of a question when a question becomes powerful, and beware of assumptions. So here's the deal: when you're asking a question is you need to be very careful about how you pose your questions in that meeting. You want to look at the construction, the scope, and the assumptions. So if we look at the construction of a question, you'll notice that less powerful questions can be answered with yes or no, and more powerful questions can be answered with open-ended questions. So just kind of look at these questions. It says, are our stakeholders getting the support they need? This is the closed-ended question. We're going to get a yes or no. So it's a very unpowerful. But if we ask a question like this, what is it about our organization that supports its stakeholders? We're going to get a lot of conversation, a lot of dialogue. Here's another question: how can we support, or excuse me, what is it about our organization that supports its stakeholders? Excellent question to understand. How can we support our stakeholders, and why is this happening? Now, notice that I have an asterisk next to why, because why is a difficult question. You have to have the right style and delivery to ask why, right? So you can say, why is this happening? Or you can say, why is this happening, right? So our tone, our delivery is so important. Now, my favorite question is, what if we got it right? What if we created an organization with incredible relationships and it was powerful to its stakeholders? What if we got all that done? And that's what I want you all to do. Is I want you to overcome your obstacles, and I want you to think about doing that daily examine. Sit for 5 minutes before you leave the office. Get a journal. Very powerful. The Center for Creative Leadership over in Greensboro, North Carolina says this is one of the number one things a leader can do, a team member can do, is sit down and say, where did I really do well today? What is working? What is working? And let's build on that. Okay, strengths finders, right? And then what is not working? And how can I put that on an influence filter? How can I set proper expectations? And how can I ask more powerful questions? More powerful questions. All right, so here's what we're going to do now. We're going to talk about for just a moment a response to a question. So when you think about asking a question, the reality is if you ask a question, you better be ready to do what? You better be ready to listen, right? Because listening is a huge skill. The last thing we can do to overcome obstacles is to ask a powerful question where you don't know the answer. That's the most powerful way. And the person you're asking it doesn't know it. You want to ask a question so powerful, we all have to think about it. And then we must be prepared to listen to each other. Listening is a strange and funny thing. It unfolds us and helps us create. So you've gotten lots of tools in your toolbox for overcoming obstacles today. And here's what I'd like to do. I'd like to go back to Kahoot, and I would like to invite you all to do a Kahoot with me. We're going to play. And since you all are like all excited about winning things, here's what Nicole Greer is going to do. I am going to let's see, let me do that. I can't do two things at once. You know that's true. You can't do two things at once. Did you know that? Multitasking is a myth. Okay, so here's what we're gonna do is I'm gonna put up a $50 Amazon gift card for the person who wins. Okay. Amazon gift card, $50 for whoever wins. We're going to do our Kahoot. We're going to see if you guys learned anything today. Oh my gosh, I hope you learned something today and somebody does really well. All right. So what we want to do is go to kahoot.it, or we want to go out to kahoot.com and get on there. Oh, thank you, Banu. Thank you. All right, so here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna share my screen and hold on. I'm gonna try to get my music going this time. And make sure my volume's up. It's up, but it's not working. I need an IT person bad. Okay, so here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna share my screen. I'm gonna go in here to Kahoot and we're gonna play, get it pulled up on your phone. Can I get a thumbs up from Felina that you can see it? Rebecca Beck, can you see it? Everybody good? Okay, awesome. So if you would go in there and you guys would put up your names, we'll get everybody in there. This will be so fun. $50 Amazon card on the line. Thank you so much for listening to all my information about obstacles. I'm going to look at the chat though before I get off today, even when this is over. And if anybody has questions for me, you can feel free to hang on the line. I'd love to have a conversation. I got nowhere to be but with you guys today. So let's see, we've got 100 in there, 102. And you know what, Felina and Glenn and Rebecca, I can see your beautiful faces. Will you guys tell me when you think I should pull the trigger on getting this thing started? Because I just want to make sure I don't wait too long. And you guys know how kind of the conference has been going. So I need a little help from you.
Right, we have 2 minutes left in the session, so you can get started at any point.
Okay, all right. So here we go. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Here we go. Here is our Kahoot. All right. 3, 2, 1. All right, it's a quiz, 9 questions. The mindset we need for growth is a fixed mindset, a lobotomy, a defeatist mindset, or a growth mindset. Which one is it? Which one is it? Okay, we'll get everybody in there. Okay, very good. All right. Oh, 5 of you put, what did you guys put? A fixed mindset? Oh my goodness. Those 5 have to stay after class. Okay, here goes the next question. Let's see where everybody's at. Who is in the lead? Ooh, Rebecca, you are killing it, girl. Okay, here we go. Next question. Next question. A powerful question does this. What does a powerful question do? Creates a climate of discovery, causes us to explore what is possible, opens us up to new ideas. Which one is it? Which one is it? Let's see what you guys come up with. We got 6 seconds left on the clock. Let's see what happens. All right, very good, very good. All right, we'll go on. Let's see who's in the lead. Who's in the Cigar Man? I know that's Glenn. I read his bio. That's awesome. All right, let's go on to the next one. All right, cigars are on Glenn if he gets $50. We're all going to meet him uptown somewhere. Let's see. Okay, thinking about how you are thinking is what? A waste of time for crazy people, a magic trick, or metacognition? Which one is it? Which one is it? Let's see, we got 5 seconds left. Get your answers in. 3, 2, 1. And let's see who the winner is. Oh, Kevin. I don't know. I haven't seen Kevin up here. Oh, Darren is impressed. Okay, let's go to the next question. Number 4, true or false? The message you send either supports growth or silences it. Notice I got the S on there this time. Notice that. Okay, so let's see. We got 15 seconds on the clock. What do you think? 115 answers, 119, 123. All right, here we go. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. All right, here's the answer. It is absolutely true. Let's see who's in the lead. Who's in the lead? Oh, Kevin is killing it. He is still there. Come on, Rebecca, let's go. All right, next question, 5 out of 9. The 3 parts of a powerful question are a beginning, middle, and end, a capital letter, a word, and a question mark, or construction, scope, and assumptions. Which one is it? Which one is it? 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, let's see who wins. Oh, yes, it is gold. And let's see who's in the lead. Yeah, coming up from behind. All right, so everybody needs to work harder. Let's go to question 6. True or false? Listening is a powerful tool to overcome the obstacles we face. Listening is a powerful tool. True or false? This one is so easy. Please get this right. I know you can get this right. Maybe some of you are just doing it the opposite way to be cantankerous. All right, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And the answer is absolutely true. All right, next. All right, let's see who's in the lead. Still Tim. All right, we got 3 questions left. When I overcome obstacles, I get a neuropeptide rush of what? Cortisol, caffeine, endorphins, oxytocin, and dopamine. Which one is it? Which one is it? Let's take a look here. We got 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. All right, let's see what the answer is. Absolutely correct. Let's see who's in the lead. Oh my gosh, Tim is hanging in there. That's awesome. All right, Cigar Man, you got to work harder here. All right, got your finger on the trigger. Let's go. All right, 8. Number 8, the influence filter helps me do what? Get clarity on my why, envision what I want to accomplish, identify the success criteria of my project, or all of the above. We got 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Let's see what the answer is. It's always all of the above, y'all. Okay. All right. So let's take a look. Let's take a look. It's still Tim. Tim is killing it. All right. Awesome. Last question. It's almost over. Obstacles can be overcome. True or false? True or false? Surely to goodness, everybody will get this one right. We've got 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. All right. And let's see. Oh, somebody got it wrong. Somebody's being sassy out there. Okay. All right. So let's look at the podium. Who got 3rd place? All right. And number 2, oh, Cigar Man. Close, but no cigar for Cigar Man. And number 1, Tim H. I don't know who you are, Tim H, but what you need to do is you need to send me your name at Nicole@vibrantcoaching.com, Nicole@vibrantcoaching.com, and I will make sure that you get your $50 gift card today through the email. All right. So it's been so great to be with you all. Thank you so much for your time and attention. I'll throw it back to you, Felina.
Thank you, Nicole. This
AJ, you cannot
wonderful.
do that. You cannot be Tim.
Nicole, thank you so much. Great presentation. I'm seeing it in the chat. Everyone enjoyed it so much. We thank you. We appreciate you. We didn't mind being late for our next set of door prizes because this was awesome. Thank you, Nicole, for joining us, and we look forward to maybe dealing with you again in the future. Thanks.
Bye-bye. See you guys in the next meeting.
We'll see you in the prizes. Take care, Nicole.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yes, ma'am. Bye-bye.
Maybe Tim S, you could hang out here until the end and tell me your email.
Hey, Nicole, I think I just sent you an email with, you know,
It's
my
Timothy
info.
Howie.
Yep.
Okay, fantastic. Okay, and nothing bounced back, so we're good. Okay,
Awesome.
awesome. I'll get that off to you. Thanks for playing hard. I appreciate people who play hard, hungry people.
Thank you so much. Great presentation.
Thank you. And I'm just going to hang out here if anybody has any questions or needs anything.
Hi, Nicole. This is Jonathan from Fayetteville. Did have one.
Jonathan, how are you?
I'm good. Thank you very much. So really enjoyed the developmental bio, you know, kind of background of processes and the anatomy side of how our brain works. My background initially out of undergrad was in that same field, but I wanted to, my question is going a little step further beyond that, understanding the processes and how our brain works. I guess my next phase, the next question to that would be understanding that process. How would you recommend, or how would you encounter, you know, even knowing that process, overcoming still those obstacles of those static mindsets, if that makes any sense?
It makes total sense. Yeah. And so there are lots of little things that leaders can do. I'll give you two. And if you want more, we can keep talking or we can talk offline. Okay. So I'll give you two to start because I love this stuff, first of all. Okay. So the number one thing that you can do is, remember I said that the leader's messages either produce growth or it silences it. Okay.
That's right.
This is just so true. It's not even funny.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So one of the things that I did on my research with Carol Dweck is that she said that, and this is so surprising, is that she said that when leaders tell people, hey, you're doing a good job, hey, that was excellent, that is actually detrimental.
Correct. I agree. Yes.
Okay. Because they're like, oh, well, I'm good.
Mm-hmm.
I'm doing good. So I don't need to work any harder.
That's
okay.
right.
And so that silences growth, but it's surprising that it does. Now, the flip side of that would be is instead of saying you did a great job, is that you would give them what I call a positive C3. And if you go in further into my PowerPoint deck, I actually have that in there in my workbook.
Mm-hmm.
And in there, I talk about giving a positive C3. And so leaders have to be so intentional, again, moving all the way to our prefrontal cortex to be conscious and aware. So let's say that you're on my team and you were in that meeting I was talking about.
Mm-hmm.
And I said something like this. I said, oh, Jonathan, in the meeting today, okay, so not your overall work, but in the meeting today, you gave 3 great ideas. You asked lots of powerful questions, and you were very helpful to me in filling out the influence filter. You had a lot of good energy. And so now I'm telling you where it happened, which is the circumstances. The second thing I'm doing is I'm telling you specific behaviors I want to see more of. Like, I'm basically telling you, get mastery over that. Keep doing that, brother. You're almost there.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So I'm giving you a compliment, but I'm saying, giving me more of that. And then you say how it impacts you or influences you, because what we want to be is that multiplier, right? That person that is out there making things work and multiply and keeping everybody smart in the room instead of dumbing us all down with their behavior. And so then I say to you, and you know how that influenced me? It made me start thinking. And I started to have better ideas. And your questions really made me consider things I wouldn't normally consider. And then whoever's giving the compliment or the C3 would say, and I really like having you on my team. Now, when I do that to Jonathan, what happens? Oxytocin, dopamine, and endorphins run through Jonathan's body. And he's like, I love working with Nicole. And now we have this thing called teamwork. right? And so it's a really good thing. So that's one thing. And you may have heard that before, but that's the number one thing, is to be so intentional with feedback.
Okay. Awesome.
Yeah.
That's
And then,
what
and
I
then the
needed.
second, I'm sorry, go
Go
ahead.
ahead. No, go ahead.
Do you need to run?
No,
need to run?
I do not.
Okay. All right. And then I had a second one, and I'm sitting here, the people with the bad mindset. Oh, here's the second thing I want to tell you. Okay, it came to me. So when I got my thing at Queens, that this organization development degree, oh my gosh, it blew my mind. You know, when you get your undergrad, you learn half the stuff you learn, you're like, why do I have to learn this? But then when you get into your other program, it's like, it's all the stuff you love. So, you know, everybody who's listening, go get your master's in whatever you love, because it's fun. All right. So I was in this class called Group Dynamics. Oh my gosh, so powerful. And one very simple thing that they talked about was, the official term for it is group norms. And what we learned about group norms is that you can instill them in your group. So one of the things you want to think about is, what would be some really good normal group norms, group behavior that I want to instill? And then what you do is you message it. You can message it many different ways. So I don't know how old you are, Jonathan, but I'm 54. So I bet you're a lot younger than that. But
I'm
back in
45.
the what, how old are you?
45.
45. Okay. Well, you might remember,
Yeah.
do you remember this thing at the store called Successories? This store called Successories?
I don't.
Maybe it was the 80s. Anyway, so there was this store at the mall, and they sold, and I bet you they're in the hallways of wherever you work, because, you know, usually we don't redecorate on the regular, you know, in all of our government buildings. But anyways, so it was these pictures that would say excellence. And then underneath the word excellence, it would have like an eagle on it or something, and have some little quote about excellence. Believe it or not, that the research on that has proven that when people read that message, it fires and wires together in their brain, if the norms are used. Now, if that picture's been hanging there since 1980, nobody cares, because it's been hanging there since 1980. Nobody talks about it. So one of the things that I do in my workshops, and when I work with teams, is I say to them before we begin, how do we need to be in order for this to be successful? Like, that's a really powerful question. How do we need to be in this meeting for us to be successful? Or you could say that to your team, and then you come up with these group norms. And I literally put them on like photo paper, you know, like 4x6 paper. And I put them around at people's desks. I mix them up like playing cards. And so when they come in to sit at the meeting, in front of them is a card, and it triggers. It says, you know, this is how I'm going to be in this meeting. Because we have to set expectations, back to my first thing, right? And so one of them is be present, because that's a huge problem right now. I mean, like right now, I mean, I have had 3 Zoom calls this week, and, you know, people have their cameras off, and it's, you know, I'm looking at myself while I'm doing this. It's a little narcissistic or something. but I mean, that's the only girl I have to look at right now. But like, we need people to be present. And I'll tell you a quick story. Do you have time for a story, or should I be quiet?
I do. Go ahead.
Quiet. Okay, so I was working with Atrium, Atrium Healthcare, and the gentleman who is the CHRO, the Chief Human Resource Officer. His name is Dr. Jim, and I'm blanking on his last name, but we could Google him. But anyways, Dr. Jim, and he doesn't like you to call him doctor, you just call him Jim. So anyway, so Jim tells me he gets hired from Atlanta. He was like the CHRO, some big healthcare outfit in Atlanta, and he comes to Atrium, and he says he's going to go to his first C-suite meeting. He's all excited, you know, and he's younger than me too. He's even younger than you, and he's like all excited to go to this meeting. So he goes to go to this meeting, and he gets to the meeting. He gets out his laptop and he flips it open. He's got his phone sitting right there, and, you know, he's got his pad folio open to take notes or whatever. And the CEO looks at him and says, "Put all that away."
What?
And he's like, "What?" And he's like, no electronics in the C-suite. And I was like, that is fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
Because what does the CEO of Atrium want you to be doing while you've got his attention? Not checking your email, not looking at your text or your whatever, all your
Correct.
IMing and blah, blah. He wants you to help him think through these amazing things we need to think through. Another thing, and then I'm going to shut up, is in my PowerPoint deck is this thing called the art of dialogue. And we did not get to it. I always prepare more than what I think I'm going to need just because I don't know how it's going to go. But that art of dialogue is this really cool thing where we actually do group coaching. And I have done it with teams, and it's been so transformative. It teaches people how to have a conversation, how not to interrupt each other, how to ask good questions, but it is a very formal way of communicating. But it increases listening, powerful questions, thinking. But it's kind of weird
Hmm.
for people. So,
Awesome.
so if you want the art of dialogue, email me at Nicole@Vibrant Coaching. I'll send you this document, and you can read it and call me someday, and we'll chat, or we'll go to lunch, or have a coffee, or virtual coffee, or something.
That works for me. Nicole at
vibrantcoaching.com. Yeah. So that would be 3 tools to get people into a growth mindset.
awesome. I appreciate it, Nicole.
Yeah. Great to be with you guys. I absolutely
Thank
had
you.
a ball. I wish I had more time, but I know you guys like 3 days of conference, you're done, right?
It's good to have a change of pace. I mean, it honestly is. This is my first conference. I've been with the city of Fayetteville for a little over a year now, and came mostly from the private sector. So it's definitely. I mean, it's not good, bad, or indifferent. It's just different. Coming
That's
from
right.
coming from the private sector and coming into a municipality setting with the policies and the procedures. Not saying that doesn't happen in the private sector, but that rigidity oftentimes that you encounter, not by necessarily choice, but being kind of framed in by red tape or like I said, those city policies. So it's
That's
different.
right.
It was a learning curve at first, but I do have some great team members that my onboarding was awesome as well. So I didn't come in blind or with no expectations. So, but it's been fun.
Yeah, and I've worked with municipalities for about 20 years in North Carolina, and and the thing about it is the part about the multipliers and the diminishers,
Hmm.
the people that um, it's very challenging in government entities to get the diminishers out.
Yes, I 100%
And
agree.
yeah, but here's what I'll say about that is, and this will almost make me cry. So don't make me cry, Jonathan. No, because it breaks my heart because unfortunately, we don't think people can change.
Mm,
So, I'm a coach. I have to believe people can change, or I shouldn't even have a business. See what I'm
I
saying?
agree. Yeah, I agree.
And so my thing that kills me about working with the different government groups is like, no, we have to get in there and coach these people. I don't care if they're like, here's a word my daddy would use, curmudgeon. If they're a complete curmudgeon, I'm going to get them in my office and I'm going to talk with them. I'm going to communicate with them. I'm going to make the ask. I'm going to set the expectations. But that is really heavy lifting sometimes for people. We didn't talk about this either. Another thing you can do is hold people accountable. Have an accountability formula. Because I don't know about you, Jonathan, but like when I first got a leadership position, they're like, hold your people accountable. And I'd be like, okay. And I didn't know what that meant. Just make them do their work. Okay. Well, I have a coach, and my coach told me this is the formula for holding people accountable. And if you do this, you will really hold them accountable. Otherwise, Nicole, with your personality, you'll just clean up after everybody. Sound
I
familiar?
100. Yes, yes. Okay. I love
because I
that.
just want it done. So anyway, if we've got, you can hold people accountable to have a growth mindset. Like we can tell people, if you work here, you're going to have a growth mindset. Okay.
I like it.
Because that's how we roll. That's how we roll around here. And people will they'll deselect, they'll try to find another department or another city to go work. I mean, but the thing is, we have these retirements and pensions and things that, we don't
Tie
want to
people
take it
in.
away from
That's right.
somebody, and we don't want to lose it. So we got to figure out a way to get people to reach their self-actualization, which I know you've seen the pyramid.
Yes, I like it.
Yeah. Anyways, okay. It's 12:06. Are you starving? Do you need to go eat?
I am going to. I luckily I'm at home, so I could just walk right into the kitchen to eat. But thank you
Okay,
so
very
much.
good, very good. Yeah, it's been so great to chat with you. I would love to come see you in Fayetteville. My brother was in the 82nd Airborne, so there was a stage of life where we were in the Fayetteville mode, driving back and forth to see,
Oh
nieces and
yeah,
nephews and stuff.
I've
Yeah,
been, I've
great
been
town.
here. I've been here for a while now. Not originally, but yep, I've been here for a long time.
Where are you originally from?
I'm actually from right outside of the Raleigh area, a little town called Wendell is where I'm from originally.
Oh, awesome. Yeah, when I
Yep.
first moved back to North Carolina after I'd been working for one company that moved me all around everywhere, we lived in Cary, so I know where that's
Yeah.
at.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Small world.
It is. It is. It is. And I love North Carolina. I love it.
Me too. A little warm today,
All
but I
right.
do love it. Thanks again, Nicole.
Yeah. You're welcome. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Hey, I'm wondering if anybody else out here has a question I could answer. I could spend some time with you. I'd be glad to. Thanks, Timothy J. Brown, for your great presentation comment. I like Ted Norris's baby. He's cute.
That was an interesting dialogue with you and Jonathan.
Okay, Ulysses. What a cool name is that, Ulysses? We don't name our children Ulysses anymore. That's an awesome name. Why did your parents name you Ulysses? Is it a family name?
It is. My
It's so cool.
yeah, my grandfather is Ulysses Grant, and my uncle is Ulysses Grant. So I'm Ulysses Valentine. It's my grandfather
Oh
and my
my
grandmother.
gosh. That is beautiful. I love that name.
Yeah. And my
Can I
sons do
answer a
too.
question for you?
Now I was just commenting on the conversation. It was interesting. I enjoyed it. I mean, it was for me. It's more. It's kind of familiar. I spent a lot of time in the great game of life with the fish philosophy. So everything
Okay,
was
tell me
real
about the fish
familiar.
philosophy.
Well, the fish philosophy basically is a different name for everything you're basically talking about.
Okay,
Communication
more.
styles, how to be present, change in culture. It's about a culture shift.
100%.
And yeah, basically how to get better in all aspects of business with people at the top of the paradigm.
Yeah,
Instead of money.
I can't agree more. Instead of money?
Yeah, instead of money. Because if people happy, money happens.
That's exactly right. I have this once I teach emotional intelligence a lot of time, and all this stuff goes like this, Ulysses. It's all just interwoven.
Yeah,
Different
that's
people are
part
just
of it as
calling
well.
it something.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're just calling it a little something different, but I
Right.
have this one.
Yeah.
I have this one slide for emotional intelligence, and the slide says that this is statistics from a research project that leaders would rather hire somebody that they sense has emotional intelligence versus more experience.
Right.
Because
right, and that's what we
I'm
are
gonna
now.
train
Fit.
Right.
Yeah, fit.
That's right. And then the other thing
I can teach,
is that on.
But yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, and then the other statistic on that slide says that the person with emotional intelligence makes on average $29,000 more a year than the average bear. And I think that's because you get promoted because you're good with people.
Yeah, I would say that's probably awesome unless you work in the public sector.
Right. And I feel you.
Yeah.
I mean, I know that like every year when it's time for the raise, it's like, you know, is it really about my performance, or is it because that the budget says 3% or 1% or
Yeah,
8%
well, we all
or
know
whatever
it.
the
We all know
percentage?
it's the budget. We all know performance has absolutely nothing to do with it unless you don't exceed overall. Then you just don't get it. It's a you get it or you don't. It doesn't matter if you're a high performer or a low performer. As long as you cross the performance line, yeah, you get it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah.
So basically what you're talking about, it infuses well. You almost, in the sector we work in, you almost have to have people like that, because those are the people that they're gonna work anyway. They're coming to work. They're coming to
Right.
get things done. Sure, they would like more money, but they signed the dotted line. They're gonna work because they signed the dotted line, and they're not gonna do
Right.
it begrudgingly. So they're not gonna be, what did you call the dark something in the
Yeah.
room?
Wait, no, the little ray of pitch black that
The
walked
little
in
ray
the
of pitch
room,
black. Yeah.
Yeah, I got this in some kind of funny little store when I went to New Orleans one time, because I talk about being vibrant, and my daughter's like, here's the opposite of vibrant. Now, isn't that interesting that like my 18-year-old daughter understands what I do?
Right.
And I'm like, oh, that's true. So we got that little funny little
Yeah.
sign. But you know what we're really talking about, Ulysses, is character.
Yes.
The quality of
Character.
somebody's character. Yeah. Okay. So can I tell you about this? Do you want to hear this, or do you want to go have lunch?
Go ahead.
Okay.
I'm
So
like Jonathan. I'm at home.
I've got this assessment that I do with teams, and it's called the tilt. Now, I'm not trying to sell you anything. I'm just telling you that this is a really cool tool I've just put in my toolbox recently, because, like you said, personality and all that. I mean, I know how to do Myers-Briggs. I got that in my toolbox. I got the disc in my toolbox. I bet you guys have taken
Right.
all these things. Or if you've had the consultant like me come through
Yeah.
and do these tests and stuff or whatever. Okay, well, this one does tell you your personality. Okay, it has 4 boxes like most of these assessments have, but it has this kind of philosophy that you're born with your personality, but you have to develop character to go around your personality to make your personality beautiful. Right? Because either
Right.
you're lighting up the room or making it dark. Okay. So the tilt is like almost like character development for adults. Now, I don't know. Do you have children, Ulysses?
I do.
Okay. So I've got 2. Okay. I got 2. Well, that's just one of them. There's one of them. But I've got 2. And back in the day, I don't know if you remember this, when Beverly was the governor. What was Beverly's last name? Do you remember Beverly's last name?
Purdue.
Remember our governor? Yes. Okay. When Beverly was in office, she put this program in the schools called Character Kids. Did your kids do Character Kids?
No, my kids are too young for that.
Oh, you got babies. Okay.
Well,
all right.
I've got a 19-year-old, but my baby is 11.
Okay. Oh, I wish I had an 11-year-old again. Mine are 22 and 20. Mine are 22 and 28. But anyways, so they had Character Kids, and every month they had a character trait, and it was like courage or kindness or empathy or focus or whatever, or being inspirational, right? And so having a mother like me, I was like all over it. Like, how are we going to get an A? That's the kind of mother I was. So, so I would say to my kids, oh, and this thing would come home and it would say character, courage. I'm like, well, again, back to that influence filter. How do we need to be to do kindness, to do courage, right? So anyways, Beverly, that program I thought was one of the best things that ever came out of Raleigh, out of a governor's mansion, right? So my kids tried really hard to do all that and learned a lot about character. Well, here's the deal, Ulysses. You and I both know some people, their mama didn't raise them right.
Right.
Have you ever had that thought in your mind?
Yeah.
You're like,
who
what is
raised
wrong
you?
with this person? Their mama didn't raise them right. I mean, and here's the truth. You can either get mad about that and send out a message to that person that silences them, dumbs them down, and they do the minimum, or you can help raise the people that work with you. And so the tilt, back to the tilt, it has all these commendable traits. And so you learn about doing through the tilt process, you learn about different character traits. So it's that same program, but for adults. So
Right.
we talk about having empathy and being courageous and focused and inspirational. And, you know, it's a really cool program. So it's at a higher level than personality. It's like, let's be good
Right.
people. Okay. Yeah. And we need that in
100%.
this world, right? We need
Oh,
good people.
absolutely. Absolutely.
Hmm. Yeah. So anyways, I burn up with this stuff. I love working with teams, and I want to help people. I really do. Be
It shows.
successful, make the extra 30,000.
It shows.
I got something to tell you that's really cool. I heard Dr. Carol Ison Barnes is a professor at Queens, and she teaches at UNC. And I was sitting under her teaching. She's an HR gal, and she said that she read an article where there's an app, and I can't tell you the name right now, I can't remember, but this app that asks questions, and people take these surveys, and then they take this information and then they write articles about it and research it and put it out. Well, one of the questions was, listen to this, would you rather work from home the next year, you know, for 2021 into 2022, for another year? Would you rather work from home or get $30,000 salary increase? What do you think people picked?
Depends. I think they went with the money.
They didn't. They said, I just want to stay home. I don't want to go. I
Oh,
don't know.
wow.
And I know. And so I know I'm 54, but I'm like, what? You didn't take the 30?
Yeah, I
But
know.
my
Especially if
thinking
if
is,
it don't go away.
like, when does that happen in your career that you get 30 grand? You know, and I
Yeah,
think what, you know, we're asking the wrong question. You know, the question is not either or. It's kind of like,
it's the value.
how can we do both?
Yeah,
I think we need to let people work from home when it makes sense. And I think we need people to come to work when we
Yeah.
need to connect.
right. And the sad part is you can do both.
You can. So we need an influence filter. We need to sit down and fill in all the blanks, look at the obstacles, put strategies in place, and help people figure out how to do hybrid. You know, it's going to
Right.
require the character trait of
Yeah.
trustworthiness.
Right. Yeah, but you have to be good to people so that you
100%.
get your value.
I couldn't agree more.
Yeah, you have to be so good to them they're guilty when they're not giving their best.
That's exactly right. Right. Because the
Yeah.
leader, I mean, does almost need to be flawless or transparent when they make a flaw.
Right.
Right. You say, oh, I failed right here. And I'm sorry. And this is why I failed. And this is what I lacked. And this is what I'm going to work on. And then people will
Right.
love you. Absolutely love you. Yeah.
Because I will.
All right.
I've apologized to my boss before. I told, hey, I'm sorry, man. I didn't do my best. And
Right.
he's like, no,
What-
it's
well,
good.
where do you work?
City of Fayetteville.
Oh, okay. You're a vet too. Oh, awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm the
Well,
onboarding guy
somebody-
Jonathan talked about.
Oh, okay. Very good. Very good. So I think Fayetteville is a great town. I have a big, soft spot. Both my dad, I shared that my brother was in the
Yeah.
82nd. My dad was too. The crazy jump out of plane people.
Yeah, my brother was in the 82nd.
Oh, he's
Yeah,
crazy
he was.
too.
And you have to have that. You can tell who has that personality. They're crazy, pretty much.
They are crazy. Yeah, but all of them have bad ankles. I don't know about your brother, but my brother,
Yeah.
my dad, bad ankles.
It
Yep,
comes
from
back to get
landing
you.
wrong.
Yeah.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does. All right. Well, I'd love to come
All right,
play over
madam.
in Fayetteville with you guys sometime. Have a great rest of your day. Are
All
you
right.
done for the
You as
day?
well. I am not. I've got a project management meeting at 2 o'clock today.
Okay. We'll go in
So I'm
there
not
and
done.
be
Absolutely.
vibrant. Okay.
Thank
All
you. You
right.
have a
I'll
good
talk
day.
to you later. You too, Ulysses. All right. Let's look in the chat. All right. Anybody else that's still on here want to chit chat for a moment? I'd be glad to. Rodney or Jordan or, oh, Nicole lost her glasses. That happens. All right. Are you guys there or you guys stepped away? All right. See you guys later. Have a great rest of your weekend. Have fun.